What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Crypto Current. Your host here, Richard Carthon. Today, we got a special one for you. Today is going to be focused on actually our events that we are putting on October 28th. It's a Friday. It is going to be called AGME. Austin's going to make it. And it's going to be from 12 to 6. We're going to have 6 panels, 18 speakers, talking on all things Web3, wrapped up with a nice and fun happy hour. And we actually have one of these speakers today. Today we have Ben Noble, whose handle on Twitter is the NFTs. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Richard. Thanks for having me. Austin's gonna make it. Let's go.
Yes, it is. So I'm excited to have you here, man. You're going to be speaking on one of our panels, the metaverse and NFT panel. But before we talk more on that, first I want to learn a little bit more about you. Can you give us a little bit of background on yourself?
Yeah, so I got started in the crypto space 2017, 2018, NFTs in 2018, and really fell in love with the space. Quit my cushy software job to get involved in my own startup and really have been grinding it out ever since. So one of the first projects I got to work on was Gods Unchained. I've worked on Binance. I've worked on synthetics. So I've done both sides of the table, DeFi and NFTs. But more recently, my love of NFTs is obviously coming out in my Twitter handle and yeah, over there. And yeah, so I don't just love the space, I live it.
For real. And it's cool to be living it, especially in a place like Austin where we're starting to see the community continuing to grow. And what made you want to leave that cushiony job and kind of go all in the world of Web3 and start your own startup? Like what drove you to make that leap?
Yeah, I fell in love with the narrative around Ethereum and the world computer, which is, if you're sitting as an OG and listening to this, you probably remember that. If you're newer to the space, that was kind of the push when we moved off of Bitcoin and just financial transactions to, oh, this is a digital ledger, it can be applied to everything. So once I had that epiphany of, wow, this is, I was thinking Web3, forever ago and going, oh, this is the next iteration of internet, I guess Web 2. I was like, I've got to be on the ground floor of this. This is a story that writes itself. And so I'm really grateful I made that jump. It wasn't always easy to be through a couple bear markets. And I know we're probably going into our next one, but have faith. I've been through a couple of them now and I'm ready for the next cycle.
Definitely, man. And on that, so since you've seen now 2 bull cycles and now we're going through our second during this timeline from 17 till now. During this time, your company was focused on doing a lot of things around marketing and PR, branding, etc. Why do you think it's important for brands and companies that are in this space to keep focusing on that and to be building during these times?
Yeah, projects are learning right now that they need to be able to tell great stories, and those stories don't end at the sale. So being able to produce stellar content, incredibly engaging content, and that can be even I refer to events almost as like content because it's something that is priming your audience, initiating engagement, creating like that social convection you need to keep a project alive, that life pulse. You got to keep the blood circulating or the body dies essentially. And so when we're looking at NFTs that are building into this next cycle, there's been a lot more meaningful thought put into, okay, this isn't just like a one and done cash grab. Where are we going with this, and what is that long term vision, and how do I fit into that world beyond just day to day speculation? So I think that's something we help a lot of projects with, and that's something where projects are continuing to put emphasis.
And it's essential, and that goes
Yeah.
across the entire spectrum of all of these startups that are in the Web3 space, but even more so for metaverse and NFT plays. So what drove you to become more passionate around NFTs and everything like that?
Yeah, Robbie and James Ferguson make a very compelling case for play and earn gaming, and they were one of the first to really draw my eyeballs in. I mean, obviously we were playing around with like crypto kitties and some of the early static images that really didn't do much outside of you could breed them and functionally objectively were cute. Um, and so we progressed so far beyond that now. But when I was first getting in, it was the gaming component. I was like, oh, this really has the potential and power to disrupt the gaming community. But then that is proliferated into, well, it can do it for music, it can do it for films. It's become a great tool for liberating creators and bringing creative minds together. And so those projects that are moving the needle forward are starting to coalesce around this idea of metaverse, where all these things become a part of the virtual identity.
Definitely, and it's only going to keep growing from here. I think that NFTs are the gateway drug to mass adoption and bringing more people into this space. It's going to be the first thing that people really use to get into the greater Web3 ecosystem. And I think that as it continues to develop, it will help to hone in different niches for different companies, different utilities for people to really connect and keep building communities and even around like the idea of communities. You just celebrated your anniversary of being here in Austin after living elsewhere, and how has your experience been in Austin, just seeing the communities build and continue to grow around the city?
We're growing. Austin's becoming a port authority in a lot of ways because of where it's located in proximity to other major cities. So you have Los Angeles is doing a lot of great things in the NFT verse. So is Miami. So is New York. So is San Francisco. In very different capacities. You have a lot of venture capital in San Francisco. You got more of the creative celebrity function in Los Angeles. You have more of the commercial art scene in Miami. And so all those things are coming together. And what's beautiful about being in Austin is you're getting a taste of all those things and being able to glue them together in an area that is really, a 2-hour flight from anywhere to get to. So I've seen the population in Austin grow exponentially. And, we're starting to see at meetups and events where you would have, maybe a couple dozen to now potentially 100 people at a weekday event, which is really really cool to see.
Absolutely, man. It was cool when I first moved here and I'm going to some initial events. You might see 10, 20 people, and now it's
Right.
like you go in and it's a crowd. It's
Yeah.
it's impressive, and I'm excited to see the continued growth. And part of the reason for wanting to do an event like me was to be able to bring a lot of these builders in this space into one location so that we could all meet, learn from each other, and network. And with that, with you being able to be on one of these panels, what's something that you're looking forward to at AGME, and why do you think people would want to come attend, even if they're local or even if they're in the greater Austin area? Like, why would somebody want to come and attend this event?
Yeah, learn from each other is a really important statement that you just made. And we are still in a learning phase. The vision is not complete. Just because the hype and the mania dies down doesn't mean we stop building, we stop experimenting. And from where we were at to where we're at now, I can tell you the people that are the most successful are the people that are willing to cross communicate, trial and error things, and then communicate what works, what doesn't work, and then have other meaningful entrepreneurs listen to that feedback, that advice, and crank out um, things that are delivering at a better capacity over and over and over again. So we're leveling up. And I think the best way for us to level up is to find like-minded individuals and have this communication outright. So I'm really grateful to be a part of this upcoming panel, this upcoming show, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, Ben, appreciate you spending some time with us. Everyone listening, make sure you go and check it out. But if people want to learn more about you, Ben, and all the things that you have going on, of course, you can connect with him at the NFTs on Twitter. But what are some other ways?
Yeah, so currently running a marketing communications firm called Multiplied, but we will be rebranding soon, so don't fall in love with that. Uh, I've got, you can go to our website right now. There's a link if you want to get in touch with us that way, but I would say the best way is obviously going to be social media. I live on Twitter. I live on Twitter Spaces. Just reach out to me, and I'm always around, always living the NFT life.
Oh, definitely. I remember when Ben and I first connected, someone introduced us, and he really responsive. So definitely appreciate that, Ben, and looking forward to having you at AgMe. And it's been awesome to be able to see you out and about at some of the local meetups as well. So I appreciate your time, and for everyone listening, this is a quick reminder to keep looking for all the amazing content that we have coming up. Come and check out AgMe Friday, October 28th, if you're available. And as always, stay cryptocurrent.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Cryptocurrent. Cryptocurrent is a cryptocurrency and blockchain education platform that's bridging the gap between the curious newcomers who are just discovering the space and the thought leaders who are shaping its future. All opinions expressed by Richard Carthon, the Cryptocurrent team, and their guests on this show are exclusively their own opinions. This show and any other Cryptocurrent production is exclusively for informational purposes.